Hi guys. No coffee today. Today is sparkling water with limes. Getting ready to go to the beach shortly. So welcome. I couldn't miss this week, especially because last week we had no sound. I have no idea what happened, but ironically, I had a little foot problem. So it worked out well because I was able to grab the Tylenol, go home, and crash, which we're all better now. So how are you? I can see you guys all rolling in. Lynn is in sunny Florida. We got Ontario, Canada. Hey guys. So today I just have a fun show. I have a few Q&As that, you know, all the contests that we've had, and you guys have answered questions, asked questions, things like that. I've pulled up some of those, not planning ahead, so hopefully I can answer these, but a lot of you guys ask questions. Could you just answer this question live on here? And I thought this is the perfect place since I don't have a sewing machine with me. I'm at a beautiful beach house with my family. And before I go to the beach, I thought, hey, you know what? I can do a Q&A and hang out with you guys on Wednesday because last week I didn't even get the chance to say goodbye. It was kind of like sign language. I'm just teasing. I didn't lose the sound. But last week I was reading the comments and you guys are like, you gotta, oh, I see that. I totally agree, Dawn. You gotta love technology, but it doesn't always like you. Isn't that the truth? So my sister picked out the palm trees. How do you like it? The palm trees, the beach ball, and the coconut. There was another one with fish and goggles. I liked that one better, but she wanted the palm trees. So since I'm visiting her, that sounds good. Cute dog. Oh gosh. Cute dog behind me. Where did you go? My sister has two of the biggest dogs you've ever seen in your life, and they're huge. Like when they lay on the floor, you have to walk where you're stepping to make sure you don't step on them. And then the new one, she was supposed to take in as a foster dog. Now she has two dogs, if you know what I mean. Kind of like me and my cats. Look like a dog walking behind you. There was a dog walking. He's just really big. I didn't know he was behind me. That's so funny. There was a dog. All right, so let me tell you what you missed, and then I'm going to go through some of the questions for this week. So last week, what I forgot when we went silent, this is what happened. I forgot to remind you to enter the contest, which I will leave a link here. My blog is up again. Yay! You can go to fashionsewingwithangelaWolf.com. I will leave a link here. You can also eventually, by the end of the day today, you go to angelawolf.com and click on blog, and it will take you straight to the blog. One thing that says blog, one click. Hopefully that will work. But once that's up, I'll put the whole contest on there. So next week we are giving away one embroidery collection and one software collection. That's like $500 some odd worth of stuff off the top of my head. I think it's like $579 to be exact, or 78. So my embroidery collection and the embroidery software collection. So one lucky winner, and Eileen will be popping in with me next week from Dime, giving that away and talking about the software a little bit. So that's one thing you missed. Other than that, are you seriously here in North Carolina? Yes, Trudy, I am. I'm going to be traveling the whole state, actually, in the whole next week. But right now, I'm in Wrightsville Beach, which is gorgeous. Went for like a 3-mile walk this morning. I can definitely understand why people live down here. But Michigan's awfully nice in the summer, just not right now. My husband called and said it's 35 degrees there. Yeah, not so good.
Do they want to meet the dogs before we go outside for a walk?
Oh, Michelle said that's why Dave won't let you be a foster dog, Julie. She won't let her no, I didn't mean that you were a foster dog, that she won't let you foster. All right. Jan says she's in Greensboro. Cool. Gorgeous. Afternoon, you guys. Okay, so there's the two big dogs in case you guys want to see. They're huge. We got Chloe and we have Bailey.
Bailey's the black one. Chloe's the brown one.
Can't really see. Let's see.
A black dog.
Well, you can't see Bailey. Bailey blends in.
There you go.
I told you they're huge. So there they go. They're going out for a walk.
Oh, now apparently he's not.
Oh, no. Actually, we have one that's decided to do the rollover. So that's our entertainment for the day. All right. So let me get back. Would love to meet the dogs. Leslie says yes. Oh, goodness gracious. They're rolling over for you. You're just missing that. They'll be back. You know what I mean. All right, so let me go through some of these questions you guys asked a few weeks ago because they were really good ones. And if you have other questions, I can read them here too. Hey, Leslie says she has a black Labradoodle named Bailey, about the same size. That's hilarious. So Julie thought she was getting a Labradoodle, and what is yours?
An Irish Wolfhound, Rottweiler, German Shepherd.
Say that slower.
Irish Wolfhound.
Irish Wolfhound.
Rottweiler.
Rottweiler.
German Shepherd.
German Shepherd. That's what you get. How did you find that out?
Doggy DNA.
Doggy DNA. So what she thought she had is totally different, but he's such a mellow dog. I don't see the Rottweiler in there.
That's the Auburn highlights. Like
Auburn highlights. Yes, we all need some of those.
Now he's the munchkin at 97 pounds.
He's 97 pounds. The other dog is a what?
English Mastiff.
English
Mastiff.
Mastiff. I'm new to the dog thing. English Mastiff, and he's huge. How many pounds does he weigh?
120.
120. They'll be back. We'll let them go do their duty outside while I'm asking questions so they don't do it on the floor, right? He does look like a doodle. I totally agree, Leslie. And that's why when she got the Sandy says Irish Wolfhounds are gigantic. I agree. Doggy Diva. I'm working on it. All right, guys. So here was a couple of your questions last week. And if you have more, post them. We will try to scroll through them. And I see Lynn just said she purchased the Luminaire. Congratulations. Have fun. I'm actually going through Luminaire withdrawals right now because I've been traveling so much. But next week, back on the track. All right, so let me clean my cheaters here. A little bit of beach sand on there. You know how that good protection? Oh, yes. Oh, dogs or sunscreen, Teresa? Good protection. I got the sunscreen on. And the dogs are good protection. And yes, big dotty doo-doo. That's not my category, if you know what I mean. All right, so Kathy, let's see. This was a good question. Judy Phillips, which we see you on here all the time. Thank you, Judy. She had a question a few weeks back, and it said how to create different kind of buttonholes. So this is really interesting, and I'm actually working on a different project right now for the blog, which will be up in about a month. But to get you excited about it, how many of you have actually gone through your machine and looked for the embroidery buttonholes? Now, of course, I don't have my machine here right now, but if you have, I think they're doing construction behind me. If it's too loud, let me know. I'll shut the doors, which I'd hate to do, but I will do it if it's like super loud. I never know what you're hearing. So in the machine, oh my gosh. I know you have to hear that. All right, I'll shut the door. You know, don't you think they could have taken a lunch break? Hold on. No, why would they ever want to take a lunch break during our live show? They should be here hanging out with us, right? Oh, Jan says you can't hear it? Okay, then I'm opening the door back up. Okay, got it. All right, so the buttonholes in your machine, you might not even realize this. So first I want to go through some of the higher end machines. So the Brother Dream machine, the Luminaire, even the Quattro, those had some great embroidery stitches right there built into the embroidery machine. So it's different. You don't use a machine foot. You actually use the embroider foot. So where would you use this? Well, I could think of a gazillion home deck applications. But what about, and we were talking about this in one of our groups, in one of the classes I was in recently. What about if you have, okay, a jacket that has really thick fabric. The edges are really thick because you've got the facing and everything, and then it goes into a thin layer. You want a beautiful, how about the quilted style jackets? You know, the AKA Chanel style, like, not Chanel, but like. Something like that. You want a beautiful buttonhole. You know exactly where you want it. You know what you want it to look like. Maybe you want it bigger because you have bigger buttons and your buttonhole foot will only allow you to sew a buttonhole this big. It's a great time to use that. So I've been putting some thought into this because at first I wasn't super excited about this for garments. I loved it for home deck, not so much garments, but I didn't really use it that much. So all you have to use is sticky back tearaway stabilizer, stick your finished jacket on there. Now, if you have the Luminaire, you have a triple bonus because you can project the buttonhole onto your fabric and know exactly the angle and everything. I would still line it up exactly the way I do with chalk. So I would know where the parallel lines are, or if I'm going to do them on an angle. You use the projector, or if you have the Dream Machine, you can use the scanning to see it, or the camera feature. You've got so many options there, it's nuts. But you can actually see what it looks like on the fabric, click embroider, and then your embroidery foot is off of the fabric, so your stitch is going to be even all the way across your fabric, even if, say, that this is the facing and it's super thick. This is your buttonhole, or this is your buttonhole. It won't matter. It's going to turn out perfect each time. Yes, I totally agree. Tracy says, finally caught you live. Thank you, Tracy, for catching us live. Do you ever do children clothing? Hey, Lisa, at this point, I have not. But as you know, I better catch up because all my brothers and sisters have a ton of kids now. So, well, a lot of kids, I should say. But my sister with her twin girls is a lot more enticing for me. I don't know why. I just don't get excited about making boys' clothes. But that's why for years I only did custom clothing for women and alterations for women. I skipped the men's clothes totally, unless I really had to. I even used to take Wynn's clothes out to get them altered. That's how bad. I know. So yes, kids clothing eventually, but just for fun. It's kind of fun. I'm reading your comments here. Jane says she can take her Bernina and take all her buttonholes into embroidery. Excellent. Well, you know what's interesting is that even the buttonhole itself, on some of the newer machines, you can make a bigger buttonhole. I mean, before it was like that big. You were stuck with like a very small one. The one now, I think you can go up to like I don't know the numbers. I'm not going to say them because I'll probably screw it up. But you can go a lot bigger. And that makes a difference because some of the parts of a jacket, and I'm working on an outerwear jacket for the next It's So Easy episodes, I want big buttons because they're cool, they're stylish. I can always change them to smaller, but you know what I mean. Kind of fun. I agree, Liz. I think you and I were one of the ones talking about that. Very fun. I see Pam says, in my Quattro, they do not shrink down to shirt size, but they're excellent for coats. Well, that's good to know. So I'm going to be playing with this. Sandy says, heirloom sewing is great for embroidering on fancy buttons. I agree. So what do you use? Just sticky back stabilizer, put your entire finished coat, smack it on there, and you should be able to just embroider in place. All right. Hey, by the way, you too. I'm reading your comments real quick. Angie says, I have multiple buttonhole options on Janome machine. However, on my PE800, no buttonholes. Well, you know what? That's why we buy more machines. If I were to go through some of my older machines, I've saved some of the older ones. Okay, there goes a plane. I feel like I'm on that show, Paradise Island. What was that show called, Julie, that used to come on after our bedtime when we were kids? After Love Boat? The plane, that show? Yeah, what was that called? Oh, goodness. We're having a brain dead. Something. Okay.
Paradise, Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island. I've got boats. The ocean's right there. I can hear boats. I can hear planes. I can hear. Oh, this is so fun.
The military.
Everybody's saying Fantasy Island. Thanks, guys.
The military base is that way.
2 words. Oh, my sister just said the military base is right there. So, okay. So, just a quick side blurb before I go to the next question. When I was flying yesterday with my mother, the pilot came out on our Delta flight. I always fly Delta. I like Delta. I don't care if they had a report that said that they're always late. I think I've had a flight that's been late maybe 3 times ever, and it was because of massive storms. So, I mean, you can't like really blame Mother Nature on the airline. So I've had really good luck. So this is the first time this happened. The pilot came out and talked to us and said how many years experience he had. His co-pilot had flown in the service for quite a few years, and then a few other things. I thought it was pretty awesome, number one. But number two, then I was worried because if you had to tell me you did all that, I'm really worried that we might not do well. No, I'm just kidding there. But for real, I thought that was pretty cool because, you know, you always think of the pilots, they're in the little front cabin and you know much about them. And it was nice of him to come out there and say hi. And I just learned that both my pilots, between both of them, had like 40 years experience. That's a lot. And guess what? We were 15 minutes early to Atlanta. Hot Atlanta is what my sister called it. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. All right, on to the next question. More buttonholes. You guys have any more comments about that? I'll read that in a minute, but I just want to scroll through a couple of these just to give you a little bit of inspiration for the week. All right, what do we have now? Let's see. Here's one. Jane Jarvis, I think I just saw you on here too. How do you do a really narrow rolled hem? Okay, so since I don't have my sewing machine, I'm only going to give a brisk answer on this. But we talked about different rolled hem feet. If you want to do a really, 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 really tiny rolled hem, I would use a serger and I would use a rayon thread. If you've never tried that and you have a serger, try it. You can make your stitch length longer or shorter. It rolls your fabric into such a tiny hem. You know, that's how I almost got kicked out of a museum. I was there. I won a trip. Marcia, and have you ever been on their trip to New York? Super, super fun. Yeah. So 7 days of shopping New York. If you can believe it, after 5 days, I was totally sick of Actually, 3 days. I was so sick of shopping for fabric. I didn't know what to do. That's frightening. This is quite a few years ago. But we went to a museum and it said there was a rolled hem on the bottom of this dress. And Pam and I were just laughing about this last week in Denver. It looked like a serged hem. It totally looked like my serged hem. And I thought my serged hem was like really poor. And it was hand stitched, but it had an exact replica. It's like, that's pretty cool. So I got in trouble for grabbing it because I thought it was fake, a fake roll. Yeah. Okay, so Angie says, I've used a rolled hem. Hold on. Hi, Arnell. Welcome late. And Janet from Toronto. And Pam, yes, you're so funny, Pam. I'm going to bring you around because between Melody and her thick book and your memory, anything that I forget, you're right back in there. So thank you. Okay, how do you turn the corners with, okay, so this is for the rolled hem. Sandy wants to know, how do you turn the corners without ending up with chains at each corner with the rolled hem? So Sandy, I'm pretty sure you're on Blueprint. I don't remember for sure. The old Craftsy. I have a serging class on there that shows you how to turn the hems. I also have it in the Fashion Sewing Club group for the video to show you how to turn corners. But basically, you treat the serger just like a sewing machine in one way. When you get to the corner, here's your corner. I'm going to use my fingers for this. So here's your corner. You serge all the way to the corner of the fabric. Put your needles in the up position. Turn your fabric. This is, we're getting pretty creative here. And then put your needles right back into the corner and serge down. By lifting your needles, I think a lot of people feel like when they're serging, they just, you serge. And then you're done. Like if you turn a corner, if you go to the end, you have to serge off. You can actually go to the corner, put your needles in the up position, give your fabric a little tug, turn it, and then put your needles right back down and serge. Practice. It does take practice. But depending on how thick your fabric is, things like that, you can flip it, turn it, and you can get right to the corner, and it looks beautiful. The inside corner, that's a whole different thing, and that is the easiest. So if this is your inside corner, now I cannot do that unless I was completely relocated my thumb. But if this is here where you're serging on the inside corner, you basically take this fabric and open it up. See, I told you we'd be doing sign language today. So if this is your corner, you just spread that fabric apart when you get to that corner. Why do I know that I'm going to hear about this later, right? It's so funny. Susan says, Angela's alteration class shows a really good technique for rolled hem without a really special foot. Oh, Susan, I totally forgot about that. Thank you for the memory bank on that one too. Yes, and that's with the sewing machine, where I press the fabric. I'm such a pressing freak, but use the tailor's clapper for a nice crease. You do a simple stitch about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, trim it off, fold it up, and you're good to go. That stitch is my absolute favorite on the sewing machine. The rolled hem is my favorite on the serger. Thank you, Susan, for reminding me of that. All right, let's see. Teresa says She did a rolled hem on a prom dress last weekend using a great foot for her Juki, an 1/8 of an inch hem. Very happy. So Teresa, did you have any issues going over the seams or anything like that? That's usually when people have an issue. I trim mine on an angle, like a little corner at the tip. So then when that rolled hem, it's not taking like the full seam allowance from a seam. Bonnie says she made her wedding veil with the rolled hem in 1970 on a sewing machine. That's pretty awesome. So by the way, speaking of wedding veils, for those of you that have, quite a few of you, by the way, have purchased my lace collection, and I thank you for that. And I have to say, I cannot wait to see what you make with it. But a lot of you have mentioned that you are going to do things in the wedding and bridal and veil area. I can't wait to see that, because you could have the entire bottom of a wedding dress or the entire bottom of a veil all embroidered with a lace, which I think would be absolutely gorgeous. So I think that's really cool. I want to see it. Make sure you save photos. Angie says thanks too, because for all of you that are on Blueprint, you can go to any class now. So make sure you check out. I have 7 classes on there. They were some of the first ones taped on there, so they don't always show up first. Like now they have some of their newer ones. So if you go through though, they're all there. Sometimes if you're watching it as a class that you purchase, you can ask a question, because I just had some questions pop up this week that were from like 2 weeks ago, and either I missed them or they forgot to tell me. So I'll just try to log in. But every week there are questions that show up on my screen if you actually take the class. If you're just scanning it through Blueprint and you're watching it, then I don't think you can leave a question. But you can always track me down here. Liz says she was intimidated to lift the serger foot. I agree. And thread weight. Lynn, that's a big question there. So thread weight. For the rolled hem, it depends. If you're going to use a serger, I love to use that rayon thread. It's very light, airy. I love a silk thread. It goes through a lot of thread though. So if you're using a spool that's this wide, that could be a challenge. That new thread that's coming out, the woolly poly and the woolly nylon, which should be out sometime this month, that will be for the serger for the looper. I have a feeling I'm going to absolutely love that for the rolled hem, but I can't tell you until I try it. Everyone's saying they got to try that. Try it, try it, try it. Janet says, have to try that. I always end up with a chain hanging off. You guys try it. Everyone go try it this week. And then next week, I'm going to take a little vote from you. Did it work or did it not work? So watch for the vote to show up on Facebook. It does take practice though. But after you do it 2 or 3 times, you're pretty good to go. Tracy says, I'm not sure how I ever sewed without the clapper. It's a game changer for sure. Thanks, Tracy. So you guys know you have to answer a question to get into the fashions, or not, the Fashion Sewing Club is the paid group, but then Angela of Patterns is our free Facebook group. So I'm scrolling through questions this morning, and there's all these comments about, you know, I watch you on It's So Easy YouTube, I met you in class, things like that. And someone said, because I love the tailor's clapper. Instantly. I totally know you're in then. So I have to laugh about that. That was pretty cute. And yes, Tracy, it is. All right, so we've got a couple more questions here. Let's scroll. And if you have any questions here, I'll try to catch them. And I see a few. Oh, wait, Teresa says on her rolled hem, she skips the seam and goes back with a regular foot on that seam. That's interesting. But Teresa, there should be a way that you can do them both all in one to save time. So keep that in mind. But that's a great solution if you're just like ready to pull your hair out. Janet says she struggles with the rolled hem. Yeah, it's like a bittersweet. Now that one foot that I told you guys about, it's on my blog and I don't know what it's, skip that sentence. I'll make sure it's logged under the right rolled hem. So when you search for rolled hem, it comes up. I don't know if it's like that yet though. All right, Lynn says, I made washcloth when I took my travel machine on vacation and made a rolled hem. Very cool. You know, I should have brought a machine with me here, although my sister has a machine, but we decided just to go to the beach and bed for a few days.
The dogs took up the entire
Oh, Julie said she couldn't bring the machines because the dog took up the whole car. So we're not even going to go into the rental car thing because I will give you a laugh of the century. Not really. But I don't know what's going on in North Carolina right now. let's just say that Hertz was pretty much out of vehicles. And I decided to go for a little bit smaller vehicle than normal because we're going to the beach. Yeah, not such a smart idea. If you saw us going down the road yesterday, you might have noticed the back of our car dragging. Yeah, and Hertz was out of vehicles, so we couldn't upgrade. And we had 4 suitcases because we brought 2 suitcases with baby clothes for my sister. I'm just going to give you that visual. Oh, wait, Mom, was there more? Oh, yes. When you go to leave, if you rent a car, here's a tip for you. When you go to check out, you should walk around your car, your entire car, and check for dents or anything like that, because they will circle it on a sheet of paper for you. Because when you go back, if you didn't do that, they can charge you for those dents. So I always do that. So that's your travel tip. Walk around the car. You might feel like a total dork, but just do it. And you tell them where the dents are. So yesterday I'm a little tired and I'm walking around the car and I'm like so annoyed anyways because this car is so small. We have 2 suitcases in the trunk, 2 computer bags in the back seat, 2 other suitcases in the back seat. It was just not a good experience, but whatever. Okay, besides that fact. So I get to the checkout and I said, let me just walk around the car. And I'm like, okay, there's a huge dent all the way down the side. There's a whole like black streaks all the way around the car. And I'm like, dude, this car is like, I think I actually said that. I must have sounded like I was 12, but I said, dude, this car is everywhere. There's dents everywhere. I don't even know where to tell you to stop. And then I'm going to get in the car and I'm like, oh, how ironic. There's a huge thing of I'll clean up my language, bird droppings on the roof of the car. The guy at the counter is busts out laughing. He's got like these dark sunglasses on, young kid, and he starts laughing. And I'm thinking, I'm glad somebody finds humor in this. So he hands me my sheet for the insurance. Here you go, ma'am. So when you check out, just make sure you leave 1 copy on the top and 1 copy is yours. And I look and he circles. Usually they'll have the picture of the car and they'll have like a little X here, a little X here, an X here. And then they say, that's where the damage is. So if there's other damage, I guess you got to pay for that. But in this case, he circled the entire car and wrote damage everywhere. I've never had that happen. So he hands it to me and I hand it back to him. And I said, you forgot to add the bird doo-doo. I cleaned it up. The bird doo-doo. So he added that and then we were off. And I was trying to make a good travel experience for my mother, and you would have sworn I'd never rented a car in my life. So I'm sharing this with you, so hopefully your experience will be a little bit better. So in the future, what I would do is actually get out of the car and ask for a different car, because I think I was just so tired and I couldn't even imagine dragging all those suitcases out again. I just drove off. For future, I would say, out of all these cars here that you are going to get cleaned, I would even take a dirty one because this one is a piece of you know what. So other than that, 99% of the time I have a great experience with Hertz. This is the one time. And it wasn't the people. They were very helpful. It was just the vehicle. So keep that in mind. All right, back to your questions. Tracy says, I've watched your jeans class about 6 times, rewinding as I sew, hoping to finish them starting in October. Oh, that you started in October. Well, Tracy, you're doing better than me because I have 3 or 4, I might even have 6 pairs cut out now, all ready to sew. I figure if I've got more cut out, then I can go through the process of embroidering the pockets and make it like one big processing line. Definitely. All right. How is the new woolly different from the woolly nylon I've used for years when doing a rolled hem? There's a woolly poly coming out, Mary. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit thinner, and I can't really tell you because I don't have it here right now, but it's just a smidge different. So it's a woolly poly. I also have a woolly nylon, which is exactly what you have. But woolly poly is a little bit different. Less hairy, I would say, if that makes sense. All right, Melody says, I got myself into a discussion about the difference of Angela's clapper. One gal said she uses a piece of junk wood. I was about to die. Well, Melody, you know what? I guess whatever works. I had one lady said she went out and took a piece off of her fence, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not sure that was such a good idea, but when you get splinters later on, that could be a problem. I guess whatever works. So for real though, for what Melody said, the reason that I even started designing the clapper, I didn't come up with this. June Taylor was the one that I had purchased, my original one. And when I was taping It So Easy, my producer said, you have got to get a new clapper. That thing is gross. It was brown. It was faded in color. It was a hot mess. And it's because I used it for 25 years. So I went to my local builder and we tested some different woods because I wanted to know, okay, I don't know what they were using before, although I do know now, but I wanted to test some things. A lot of people suggested oak, which is fine. And that's actually what you usually purchase when you purchase it at a store. Oak is way less expensive than hard maple, which is what I use. And the only reason I chose the hard maple wasn't because I wanted to charge more. The wood is what you pay for. The reason is when you turn up that hem and press, the oak and the hard maple have a whole different how long it takes to seal that fold, I should say, the crease. So that's why. So it was faster and it was a little bit beefier, and I liked that. So for real, that's really the real reason. But I have to laugh because Melody, every time somebody tells me that they picked something up out of their yard or something, I'm like, okay, well, good luck on the splinters, and I hope you're not using a red maple. And if you didn't catch on to that, it means you have never dyed fabric. So, all right, Glenda says, can't wait to meet you. You too. I think I will be meeting you in California, if I'm correct. Oh, Terry says you found me years ago because I sold clappers. That's hilarious. And now you're besties on Facebook in the group, which is awesome. You guys are all talking about the clapper. Yes, you know what the big thing though is it makes such a difference. Even when we were traveling recently, I wanted to press my pants, and I was like, I need some steam and I need a clapper. So many people don't use steam. And the steam helps not only the interfacing, if you're trying to press fusible interfacing, a little burst of steam helps that tremendously. Now, I'm not talking about like squirting with water, just a little burst of steam. And as long as you have a quality iron, you're good to go. Oh, Patty, you're in Winston-Salem. I think that, yeah, that's where my sister lives, one of them. All right, so. Okay, so I'm watching this dog like sit. He's trying to sit on the couch. You guys have to see this. I don't know if you can see this, but wave, Mom. Can you guys see the dog? I don't know if he's trying to move the cushions around or what is he doing? He's checking out my mother. And I think that he's going to barely fit on there. Okay, so that is your laugh for the day? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's just sitting there staring at my mother. He's like, what are you doing here? This is so not normal. Oh, now he's coming to visit you guys. Oh, goodness. All right, Kay. Hi from all of your quilting friends. Oh, you're at a retreat. Oh, your quilting friends want their own clapper. Well, it sounds like you shared a bit, which is nice. All right, you guys want another question? We got some more on here. You guys gave me such good questions. We could go on forever, but I'll just pick a few more. But let me just check, make sure that you guys that are live don't have questions. Susan. So, Kay, Susan says, depending on how good of friends you have, Merry Christmas presents. Okay, if you buy all of your friends' tailors clappers, call me. I'll give you a discount. That would be a really good Christmas present, right? Michelle says she tried a rolled hem on a veil and it separated from the fabric. Did I need a stabilizer? Okay, well, that's a really good question. So did you do the rolled hem with serger or the sewing machine? I'm going to guess the serger because it's so easy for that to fall off and go back on. So a couple things that you could do. Number one, when you're using the serger, and I'm going to use my hands here again. When you're using the serger for a rolled hem, I'm actually, if you can picture that my hands are down, but I actually maneuver the fabric with my hands. So you're actually pushing the fabric kind of towards the knife area. You can use a sticky back stabilizer. It works great on the back and it washes away. A sticky back wash away. Put that on the edge of the curves that are hard. If it's a straighter grain, you're not going to have that problem. It's usually when it's a wonky curve, not the bias, but you know, like if you're doing a circle, okay, so this is like your math class for the day. When you're doing a circle, you've got a couple parts that have grain line, a couple parts that are on the bias, and a couple parts that are kind of skewed. the skewed parts are always the parts that fall off, no matter what you do. So it doesn't mean you have to use stabilizer around the whole thing, but just cut strips about 1 inch wide, sticky back wash away, and stick it into the areas that you know you're going to have problems with. Then when you get to that area, you stitch and it washes away. So that is one trick for you. Esther says she struggles with hers. I think I see a really good video coming up that I need to do to help you guys. But anyways, the class that Susan mentioned, that's a good way to do the sew with the sewing machine. And then the class on Craftsy is an easy one to do with your serger. All right. So Sandy said, oh, spring break's either a week before or a week after Easter. Well, I don't know what's going on here, but they didn't have any cars. So we're just going to assume there's a lot of people here for vacation. Jane says, Angela, I love my brother double cover stitch. I keep getting a lot of threads when I finish to pull to cut. Hope that makes sense. Okay, Jane, let me. I keep getting a lot of threads when I finish and pull to cut. Well, you shouldn't, on your cover stitch, if you're using, let's just say a regular cover stitch, you should only have threads that you're using. So if you're using 2 needles, and 1 looper, you're only using 1 looper always. So you should have 1 looper thread, 1 on the bottom, and on the top you should either have 2, if you're using a double or just a single, whatever, a narrow cover stitch or 2 thread cover stitch. You should have 3 threads if you're doing 3 thread overlock, and you should have 4 threads in the top if you're using a triple cover stitch and the looper. So all of those threads. So if you're using the double cover stitch, when it comes time to end your stitch, cut the thread for your double cover, cut it, and then stitch a few stitches past. And once that thread's out of the machine, it's so much easier to pull them out. And then you kind of pull out your fabric a little bit, cut your top threads, give it a tug, and they all go to the back. So you'll either have 3 or 4 threads to the back, if that makes sense. I do have some YouTube videos on that, by the way. And they should all go to the back, and I usually just cut them. Some people like to tie them off or tuck them under. I just cut them. It's your choice. All right, how are we doing? We're doing good. Okay, let me find one more question. Although I see you guys are asking your own here, which is fine too. Susan says, Esther, try my technique. You won't be cussing. Thanks, Susan. Well, you might be, but just don't cuss at me, okay? Clovis, we're back to the car. Yes, Clovis says, check the car. Her husband does it all the time. Definitely. Oh, and Glenda says, take pictures. Yes, I learned that too, by the way. And if you ever get in an accident, be sure to take photos immediately. Sandy said she had an issue with her car. Oh, you guys are writing some of the funniest things. Sandy says she rented a cheapo because that's all the insurance would pay for, and there was so many dents. She said, give me a bigger car. Also, no power steering. Okay, Mom, we had power steering.
You did?
I think so.
Are you sure?
And yes, they should have washed it first. Well, let's just say it wasn't the people there. They were super nice. It would just happen to be the car.
The luggage weighed more than the car.
My mom just confirmed that the luggage weighed more than the car. Mm-hmm.
So when you veered to the right, it almost.
Okay, we're done now. I think she's making fun.
I'm never going again.
Irene says, small cars, I can't breathe. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Okay. Oh, gosh, you guys are hilarious. All right, so I got a few more questions, and then we're going to run. June Taylor dancers. I don't know what that is. Oh, my gosh, you guys, I'm going to go back and read your comments. These are hilarious. Oh, Susan says, hi, Mom, and OMG, he's as big as a moose. Everybody's saying hi, Mom. And yes, he is as big as a moose. Okay, Janet wants, there's a lot of Janets on here today. She wants a recommendation for an iron. If you go to my blog, and I'm going to type it in so you guys get the right one. If you don't know it by now, it's Fashion Sewing with AngelaWolf.com. Okay, that's the blog. Maybe if it shows up. Fashion Sewing with AngelaWolf.com. If you go to the search button and look up iron, I show a video on how to clean your iron, which If it's an expensive iron, I would try it. If it's not an expensive iron, I wouldn't even waste my time on it. But that's just me because I ruined like 4 towels and my fingernails. But I have a recommendation for an iron that I use. It was on sale at Wawak recently. If you're going to any of the shows, I know Joe had a very similar iron in his booth. It's a steam iron. The only thing is you have to hang the gallon of water somewhere. So either up on a wall or order one of those medical rolling racks. You guys heard me laugh about that. Yeah. So just so you know. And I like that iron. I don't know the name of it, but if you go to my blog and click on search, it should show up. If it doesn't, send me a message. I have a messenger thing that pops up now, so you can ask me a question right there. And I try to answer within 24 to 48 hours. Does that sound good? Okay. I say 48 because, you know, it might be a Saturday or a Sunday when I'm not working. Leslie says, you have a lovely daughter, Mom. Thanks,
do.
Leslie.
3 lovely ones.
Oh, she says she has 3 lovely daughters. I'm just one of them. All right, let me get another question here. So by the way, when you get the contest this week, you know, we're giving it away on Wednesday, the embroidery collection. So don't forget to enter. You can enter every day. So I will make sure you have the link here so you don't forget about that. And next week, when I have a new contest, when you see me ask a question that says, if you have any questions for upcoming Facebook, now you know where they come out at. Susan, I saw your comment down here. This is hilarious. You said you have so many wonderful videos, classes, and blogs. It's hard to come up with something you haven't done or aren't in the process of doing. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Susan. That's awesome. And here's some more rolled hem. So this is from Crystal Nichols. And she says she wants different fabrics on a rolled hem poncho with embroidery. That's interesting. So I will go back to that one because I could talk about fabrics all day. But right now, in this beautiful weather, what I would say is if you're in the warmth for summer, a poncho with silk chiffon would be gorgeous. You could have lace embroidery on it, do lace around the edges or a rolled hem, whatever you want. That would be really pretty. In fact, a poncho out of that mesh would be gorgeous. Just a thought there. I showed that a few weeks ago. All right. Let's see. Susie, you had a good question. Suggestion on selecting matching colors and matching patterns. Is there any rules or tricks? That's a great question. Okay, so have you guys ever purchased a color wheel or anything in that sort? So I use a color wheel for dyeing fabrics. That's how I turned that one shirt that I called baby poop into a gorgeous top. I took a color wheel and I figured out what colors you had to combine with what was there to make it better. But there are color wheels on what colors go together. So if you're going, now, by the way, Susie, right now, have you checked out fashion? Because you could pretty much get away with wearing anything of any color and you could walk out of the house and you'd be fine, including your pajamas. Because if you've ever been to an airport, you know you could wear a lot less than that and you'll be just fine. So for real, when you're buying fabric, I would just try to keep the color schemes similar. So find one focus color in what you're looking at. And I'm not talking about just black or white. I'm talking about, let's say you find a beautiful print that has a dark navy and a red and a pink. Pick one of those colors. In that color combination, I would pick the dark navy for your other pieces. So pick one print and then find colors that are the exact same family there. It's a good way to start. So if you're going to do color blocking or anything like that, the darker the color is within that color scheme, that's usually my base color. So if I have black and red and pink and yellow, black would be my base color. Let's see, my mom is wearing an aqua shirt with black print and white. It's very cute, by the way. She didn't make it, but she could have. So on her color, the whole base of the fabric is a teal, but she has some black color mixed in with pink and white. So for her example, I would pair up with black pants or black. Black is the darker neutral up there. You could always go with the lighter color, and then you could wear, remember my Easter outfit, my purple that I wore, bright purple from head to toe? That I would not do. That's a no-no. Although, who cares, right? If that's what you feel happy in, that's what you should wear. So I would take whatever the darker color is and use that as your base. And you know, when I'm back in the studio next week, we're going to start going through those bins of fabric and pulling pieces out. It'll be a great opportunity for me to catch up with you guys every week anyways. But I'm going to hold the fabrics up, talk about what the fabric is, how to take care of it, and what it would be good for. Regardless if I'm keeping it or selling it, it's a good way for you to see what the fabric looks like. Like, do you even know what a crepe, when you see crepe, do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it looks like? A crepe knit versus a rayon crepe. There's a lot of differences of fabrics and there's a lot of terminology. So I think that'll be very helpful. And that is going to start next week when I'm back in the studio for almost the entire summer, which is awesome. I'm laughing at your comments. Pam says, maybe your mom is sitting in his chair. I agree. So you guys have any questions for me? Otherwise, let's see. Over 34 years, I've used a clapper with other points attached for ironing other parts of garments. I love it. You know what? I have one of those point presses too, and they're great for sewing collars. Excellent. Sandy says, chiffon is beautiful with rolled hem. Have you ever seen the price of those chiffon capes, like ponchos and stuff like that? They're very expensive. If you can do it yourself, go for it. If you like hand-dyed fabrics, go for it twice. Definitely. Lynn says she sent her clapper and crafty Gemini measuring tape with her daughter at a local sewing class. She scared the sewing teacher. That's awesome. Lynn, that's awesome. All right, I'm just going to scan, make sure you guys aren't looking for anything else. Oh, here's one. Where do you enter the contest? Angie, you enter the contest. I will leave a link here, and I'm also going to leave a link on the blog. But if you go to Angela Wolf Facebook page from a computer on the left-hand side, it says contest. Click on that, and that's where it will take you. But I'm going to put it on the blog right when we hang up here. So you can go right to fashionsewingwithangelawolf.com, and it should be up there. Give me like an hour, just in case I get sidetracked with the dogs and my mom. But it'll be there. I also have links in the Facebook page, and I will share links right on here as soon as we hang up. All right, let's see. Sandy says use color dots on the edge of the fabric to match colors. Now that's a good idea. I like that. Are any of you on Instagram, by the way? If you are, I hope you're following me, but if you're not, it's Angela Wolf Fashion or Angela Wolf Fashions. I don't remember. So for those of you that are on Instagram, I feel like I have fuzz. I think it's dog hair up my nose. Yeah, it probably is. I just thought of something. You guys were so cute. Did you see me feeding those baby kitties 2 weeks ago? We lost our volume last week, so I didn't get to talk about those. No, I did not bring the kitties home. They stayed there, but they were so cute. Yes, and the other thing I didn't get a chance to do last week is to thank everyone in Denver for such hospitality. Some of you guys drove me home back to the hotel each day. You were the best Uber drivers ever. I got to feed the kitty cats. And what a great store, by the way. You guys are so lucky to have that. Rocky Mountain Sew and Back was a great place, great location. I would have to say it goes into my top. Very great people to work with. You guys are really lucky, by the way, because a lot of stores are not that nice. And, well, let's not say that, because I do go to a lot of nice stores. But you have an event center right there built in, which is so nice for you. So I hope you support stores so they stick around. That was kind of where I was going with that. All right, hold on. I see a couple more questions popping up here. Oh, we got Stuart, Florida. Hi, Ann. Oh, great to see you, Ann. I haven't seen you in a while. Terry says, someday I would love to hear the story of how you began in the sewing industry. Oh, Terry, great idea. So I will do that next week or so. I can make it really short, but to make a super long story short, Terry, I went to college not for sewing. I wanted to go for engineering. I was bored out of my mind. I graduated with a business degree, started my custom apparel business right out of college. I definitely had the entrepreneurial spirit. And after It's So Easy took off, I'm now in the sewing world. So That's a super long story short. But I will remember to put together a good bio for you, or at least one that's a little more polished. Thank you for asking, though. Sandy, you are hilarious. Sounds like the jumping off point for an Angela Wolf book. Oh, that's scary. Very scary. I did name the squirrels. Did you cover the maternity top for a newly pregnant daughter? Oh, Peg, did you cover the maternity top for a newly pregnant daughter? No, but congratulations. Do you have a newly pregnant daughter too? That's so exciting. I think I saw that come up in the discussion in our Facebook group. So no, I did not cover that today. And Amy says, yes, please teach about more fabrics. Well, you'll be excited because starting next week. And yes, Susan just mentioned about purchasing swatches of fabric. That is a great idea for you guys. And now that the blog is up, remember I told you a couple weeks ago that I'm going to post something that you can download. I've used it since like, I don't know, 1985, before internet came out. Well, internet was out. It just wasn't in my ballpark. Actually, what year did the internet come out? I did not have a computer at the time. That was the time in school where you use those monstrous computers. So not to date myself. But I had this sheet of paper that I would bring with me, and every swatch I would tape to it. I would say where it came from and all of those other specific items. I told you guys I was going to find that file and have it on my blog so you could download it. So keep an eye out for that, because that will definitely be coming out, because you'll love it. You just print a bunch of copies, and then when you go shopping, you take a swatch and put it on there. Now, if you're just testing new fabrics, you can purchase swatches from just about anywhere, and you can feel what the fabric is. Even if you don't plan on buying it, at least you can help add to your library. You probably have to pay for the swatches because it's expensive to mail. Oh my gosh. I went to mail something like this big the other day. It was $3 something. So if a store charges you shipping for that, don't get upset. There is a reason that a lot of stores are closing and Amazon's taking over, but that might just be one of the small ones. Bonnie, I am so sorry I missed you in Cleveland because I did not get there the day that you were there. So hopefully, again, another time. Well, you guys, I see a couple more questions, but then I'm going to run. Did you ever get to the ply? Did you get to the ply of the plastic that you used to trace your patterns? Oh, did I get to Ace Hardware? And I did not. How did I forget that? Well, probably because it's 30 degrees in Michigan, but I did not. But I will. When I get home, I will check it. Just remind me. If you think of it, send me a private message before next Wednesday, and I will go look it up. Okay, back to the Instagram. Thank you. If you are on Instagram, please follow me. It's at Angela Wolf Fashion. First off, I want to be able to have you be able to click right on my blog, and I can't until I get a few more followers. So I'm begging you to please follow if you haven't, even if you don't care what I'm writing. I'm just kidding. But if you do, Angela Wolf Fashion. But I just started adding some new videos to IGTV. Now, if you're in the Fashion Sewing Club group, you already see these, but I'm breaking them into like 4-minute and 5-minute videos. So it's like just little blurbs of sewing tips. So if you're on Instagram, you'll see these IGTVs pop up. If you don't know what that is, it's the little mini TV thing that you see at the top of Instagram. So if you're not on Instagram, please follow me, and I would love to follow you and see what you're doing too. Also, if you're on Instagram, this was another thing I wanted to mention. If you tag me at Angela Wolf Fashion, I can see what you're doing, and I'm going to start sharing your post in my story. Okay, so if you're making a really cool outfit with one of my patterns, or you're embroidering some of my lace, tag me, and I'm going to share you and your story onto my story, if that makes sense. If you're not on Instagram, you're probably rolling your eyes right now. Don't worry, I'm almost finished. But if you're on Instagram, tag me, because I'd love to share what you're doing and promote your sewing. So if you don't want me to share it, then tag me and say don't share. But if you tag me, I would love to share, because you know what? It inspires other sewers. Every age, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're making, something that, you know, is cute. Are you snoring? I think I'm boring my mother. I think I just heard. Oh, I'm just teasing. All right, guys. Well, the beach is calling. The girls are saying we got to go. They're like, now, those of you on the Fashion Sewing Club, don't forget Peg. Yes, my spelling. Yes, yes. Oh, I spelled my link wrong? Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, I did, didn't I? You guys are so good. All right, Angela with fashion. Thank you. And Peg, I'm laughing because you're always catching me with all of my other things. You waving? See, there's her cute top. Okay, I guess that means we're leaving, guys. Oh, thanks, Sandy, for putting that up there. Bye, Lynn. Have a wonderful day. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. You can hear the birds. I agree. I agree. So have a great day. Facebook Club members, tomorrow we have our live Q&A, members only at 10 o'clock. Be sure to join me. Sign up if you haven't. And if you're not going to be there live, you can leave a question in advance. I will answer it and you go back and watch it later. If you're not in the Fashion Sewing Club, go to academy.angelawolf.com and you can join us. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a wonderful day. And I'll go back and read your comments. You guys have some great comments today. So enjoy. See ya. Talk to you soon.